We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships.
This is the Couples Academy Show. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani.
I'm Danielle.
And as you know, we come to you every single morning to talk to you about issues concerning your relationship. Now, some of you are single but dating. Some of you are in a committed courtship. Maybe you're engaged to be married and the date's approaching and you're trying to figure out, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? And then many of you are married. You've been married for a couple days. You've been married for decades. But no matter what your relational state of affairs may be, we provide information that may be helpful for you. You know, we just had a couple that called in yesterday. They are engaged to be married. They're 3 months away, and they just found out literally 2 days ago that there was an affair.
Wow.
See, it's different when you find out after I do, but when you find out before I do, it brings a lot of things into question. You reach the crossroads. Are we moving forward? Are we not?
Right.
It's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and yesterday a couple days ago, I met with a client who is about 40, and she is embarking upon the journey of getting married to someone that she's known a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks.
See, folks.
We've had some talks here. She's very, very convicted in what she wants to do. But guess what, though? Here's the thing,
But
guys.
did you keep it real with her?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing, guys. Things are different now. People are like, especially when women get to a certain age, we are ready. When we're ready, we know. Now, they're not getting married tomorrow, but it's about to happen. They've made that decision. You've got online dating. You've got all these different ways people are meeting online, connecting, and sometimes women get to the point where they know what they want and they ain't got no time to waste.
But when I hear, are you ready? They're ready. Are they prepared is the question.
Now, that's a different question.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anybody's ever fully prepared because none of us actually know what's going, what we're getting into once we say I do, right? This is something, it's like an onion. Like every step is one layer of the onion peeled away to discover what's at the root. But at the end of the day, we can get some tools in place so that we can get equipped. But I just want to say before we jump into the topic, because I think it's going to be juicy.
Yes.
We do have a phenomenal guest. I'm going to toss it to you, Hassani, to introduce what we're going to have on the second section of the show.
Yeah, well, we're going to have Dr. Raquel Watts. This is a woman that we've known for many, many years who is phenomenal. She's been in ministry. She coaches women who deal with all types of issues, whether married or single. And we're going to bring her in and talk about some topics today. Our topic today is women's issues in marriage. And I think it's going to be saucy.
So I want you guys, because we're always saying get your questions ready, and your comments ready for the second half of the show. I want you really, women, if you want to get your questions answered, be prepared. Put them in the chat so that we see them and we can toss them to Raquel. She's going to blow your mind. But I want to welcome everybody and also say, make sure you like, share, and subscribe when you come on here. I will acknowledge you on the second half of the break as well.
Listen, I want to acknowledge many of you who are taking advantage of these master classes that we have. We're seeing that people really want the More Than Words master classes, $97. I tell you, 5 hours of powerful, packed information that's going to help you really know how to prepare for what we now call courageous conversations with your partner. Difficult conversations they can be, but they're courageous because you're willing to get beyond the fear and the anxiety and to have an effective conversation that produces breakthrough in your relationship. And so in there, we're talking about defense mechanisms because we all have defense mechanisms when we show up in these conversations. And based upon your Enneagram personality style, there's a way in which you communicate. And so once you understand that, how do you go to the 7 levels of depth of intimacy in your conversations? These are the things that we're talking about. So if you haven't gotten that yet, make sure you do. Also, the Last Chance Weekend is fast approaching, June 18th through the 20th. There's interest. And so we're excited about that because it allows us to connect with people from around the world to create a level of impact.
Don't you love Last Chance Weekends? You got couples coming in and they just look so distraught. They don't know what they're going to expect. They're not sure about group either, and they come out of it singing praises, right?
They do.
They can't believe how connected they found their community. We all want to be connected to a community. Many of us, especially since COVID, have been doing life alone, right? And if you had nobody before, you really had nobody during COVID. You didn't even have your family. So going through this program, it's interesting how we're able to create safety, security, and privacy in the midst of a group program. You will be blown away by it, but we've got testimonials to prove that. You don't have to listen to us.
So let's talk about this topic, Danielle. Women's issues in marriage. There's now, I typically deal with the men when doing one-on-one counseling. You deal with women. What are some of these challenges that women struggle with? We want to lay a foundation before we bring in Raquel.
I think it's interesting because women are self-proclaimed, have it all together. We can do it by ourselves. We don't need no man. We really are. Like, we feel like we are pretty dagnab strong out here in these streets, right? And we talk about things like this all the time I mean, literally on a call, I was talking about this the other day, just why is it that we feel like we have to serve and do so much and it doesn't seem equal? And I was saying to this sister, I was like, because you are the helpmeet. God designed you to help. So that means that you have certain skills and qualities to be able to help. And I think that women have shifted their mindsets a lot, along with the changes in society, the equality that we have as women to do all the things. We actually want our husbands to be able to do what we do, how we do it. We want a wife, as somebody very close to me said. We want you to be as much of a wife to us as we are designed to be a wife to you. So you've heard women say, we can multitask. Have you ever seen those GIFs where you got a woman, she's got a baby on the hip, she's got a phone on her shoulder, she's mopping, cleaning, sweeping, cooking food with one hand.
All at this with one hand?
She's capable.
That's what you all can do?
We're capable.
We need two of you if that's the case.
We're capable, right? However, we expect our men to do what we can do, where they're very focused and working on fixing the tire very well. Right? And it might take all day, but when they get done, that tire is right. And we have to change our perspective. And so this is why we have these conversations where women are feeling frustrated within their relationships because there's a lack of understanding and there's these expectations that are unrealistic. So one of the things that I introduce to women is prioritizing self-care. I'll never forget earlier in our days when I would feel like I am really unraveling, right? If you were traveling or something like that, and I had all the kids and it was just out of control, I was becoming worse a mother by the hour. And I learned, and I don't know how I learned this, maybe through the temperament assessment that I got years ago, but I needed to step away at certain times and get out of here. So self-care, lacking making the time to take care of your needs is a big issue for women.
Yeah.
We don't do it oftentimes because we put other people before us.
And I get that. And we talked about this before, how men and women are handed a script, right? When they say I do, and typically the script that a woman gets is to take care of your husband, to take care of your children, to put your dreams, your interests, your passions, your goals, your focus on pause. Now think about it. If you have children, they each turn 18 before maybe they leave the home. So that's 18 years that your life is on pause. Then you have your husband's passions, your life is on pause. And then the depression sets in, the internal anger sets in, the unfulfillment. I can't do this anymore. That's why there's a higher rate of a divorce amongst women than men. And so this is why we need to... Did I say something?
No. Go ahead, Hassani. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm speaking for you all. That's why we need to change the dynamic of how we do marriage. We say this all the time. We do marriage wrong, and we need to learn how to begin to do marriage right.
Absolutely. And so there's a comment here I got to read. See, this is the problem now, Medina. Come on now, Medina. Come on. She says, no, we don't. We want them to just do. Why am I helping you as a man the way I would help a child? When do we help each other equally? See, that's the big problem with equality, right? This is my perspective, Hassani, you give yours, okay? Because, being married for so many years and also coming from being a strong, independent woman, raised to be that way, raised from a single parent home with my mother, who I only saw her run the show and tell everybody what to do, right? She was the matriarch of her siblings. She was the oldest, right? So she was the boss. And me seeing that and coming up in that, and then based on my own growth and understanding, realizing that ain't the way. We have to realize that truly we're not equal. God did not design us to be equal. Going back to Hassani's point, understanding how to do marriage right brings that balance. Oftentimes our husbands aren't playing the role. Sometimes we get overexhausted overplaying our role, and vice versa. We got to figure out how to do this.
Now,
right.
you know, you just stepped in it. You just said we're not equal. And I know that you have people saying, what? So you may have to come back on the other side of the break and explain that a little bit.
Well,
I think I know what
I've
you
just been
mean.
happily
I don't know if they
married
know
for
what you
19
mean.
years, just trying to.
You done
light,
started
but
something.
okay.
All right, guys, listen. This is getting good. You're watching the Couples Academy Show. We'll be right back with
I'm in
Dr. Raquel
trouble.
Watts.
Ooh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you didn't start something.
Welcome back. You are watching the Couples Academy show. I'm going to explain myself, okay? But I first want to welcome everybody. Good morning, Angel. Good to see you. Tamiko from Botswana. Welcome to the show. Medina, we're going to get to that question. Good morning, JD. Good morning, Snake. Good morning, Aaron, Marie, Henry, and Miguel, DD, Clarence. Good morning to everybody. Thank you for joining us every morning.
Well, guys, we're here. You didn't put your foot in something, and I'm
going to get my foot out.
We're going to get it out. We're going to get it out. We have with us Dr. Raquel Watts. We've been knowing, I don't even know how long we've known Dr. A long time. She's family at this point. And I think she's coming into this conversation at the perfect time. We're talking about women's issues in marriage. And we want, Danielle, we want you to explain yourself. I want to weigh in, then we want to bring the doctor in. When you said that men and women were not created equal, what did you mean?
Well, I mean that we're not equally equipped. And that's what I explain. See, women, when we get together in groups, we talk about y'all like a dog.
Y'all showed pause 1 second. So we just had a group of couples who came in on Sunday, and the women navigate and kind of navigate towards each other. The men navigate towards each other. We're having separate conversations, and we keeping it light.
Were y'all eavesdropping?
No.
Oh,
we keeping it light. We're talking about cryptocurrency. Yeah. We're talking about work.
Oh no, we going in.
And they having a powwow about we need a wife. We need a wife. All the stuff we do for our husbands, we need our own wife. And I'm just like, what are y'all talking about?
But I'm balanced because I'm quick to say, even though like Hassani might be, we cleaning house. Today is a GI. Like, we call it a GI when we all getting up and cleaning on a Saturday morning, okay? And Hassani be like, I'm going to clean my office. And I'm like, okay, babe, you go do that. Hassani be in there all day.
You know what?
First it looked like a hurricane hit the place first. He'll be in there all day. I'll be there to clean the whole house.
What do you do when people lie about you on air? I'm about to go in.
Here's the deal. Equally, we have equal rights. We deserve equal rights, right? But are we equally equipped? I would say no, because God said it is not good for man to be alone. Let me make a helper that is suitable for him. So we are the suitable helper. Does that mean that we're supposed to do it all? No. And that's where I think, Hassan, you need to jump in, because a lot of times men have certain mindsets about this, that we're supposed to do everything, and it really does wear us down, because there's no sympathy about the fact that I'm human and I'm tired, and now I'm working too. I go to a job too, and I'm doing all these things. There does need to be balance.
Well, listen, I want to comment, and then I want to bring Dr. Raquel Watson. But here's the deal. I think there's I think we struggle with, we in our minds want the traditional, conventional woman, but we're living in untraditional, unconventional times.
Yes.
And so women aren't playing the same roles that they used to play. Right. So if they are at home and that's their primary focus, then great. But to your point, how in the world you're raising kids, you have a job or a business, you have to be there for your spouse, then you have all the duties and responsibilities of the home. It is a lot to manage. And we oftentimes put too much on our wives. So no, I agree with that. I put we in there. So, I'll do more than my office the next time. I may help you out and you can cover the rest of the house. But Dr. Raquel Watts, you deal with women all the time here, right? So I would imagine that this is a conversation that you've been a part of, you've heard before, you've coached people through. What are your thoughts on this?
Wow. I think when Women's Lib started, I just said, oh my God, we have really created a monster because we became competitive with men. And the whole point of creating us was to complement men and to bring out the best in the relationship and to make two people more powerful. And I think we started to overpower each other. And it reminds me of when I think of a corporation, you can't have two CEOs. The CFO is just as powerful as the CEO. And believe me, that CEO is not doing anything without the CFO. So it's just understanding roles and realizing that God created us each powerfully, and our roles together are magnificent, and we don't need to compete.
Absolutely.
And I think you hit it right on the head. It's the competition. There's so many. Listen, we believe in becoming power couples, but so many couples are caught up in power struggles where they're competing with their partner. They're jealous of their partner. They're trying to one up their partner. And it's just like, what are we doing here?
Especially when it comes to the finances. That's a big one. We have a comment here from Ann MC saying, I have a college degree and my husband doesn't, but he is in an industry that allows him to make twice the amount of money. He keeps saying, I don't contribute enough to the finances. What are your thoughts? See, these are the conversations that we're getting into now. We're no longer talking about, hey, did you clean the house and how are the kids, right? We talking about finances and going half and how much should be split and all these things that take away from, as we discussed, the role of being a wife, which is completely different than my role as being an employee out in the street, which is completely different than my role of being a woman.
What are your thoughts on that, Raquel? These are some serious issues here.
Yes. Well, men aren't celebrated anymore for taking care of the family like they used to. Back in the day, if you weren't taking care of your family, you were less than a whole bunch of stuff. So right now, I think society puts more pressure on the ability to be able to co-provide instead of for the men to be the providers. And honestly, men prefer being the providers, and their ego is increased by being providers. But if we allow them to fall below those standards, then of course the competition comes in, and then the inability to provide, and then of course then they put the pressure on the woman because you're not helping, because they're not able to provide. So I think going back to understanding that it's a unit. The whole house is one unit. How can we make this unit work together? It doesn't mean that I have to financially always contribute, but am I taking care of the house? Am I taking care of the kids? Keeping you from having to pay for daycare, which is money. So just looking at the house as a unit and not as individual people being responsible for providing for it.
And I think that's an excellent point, right? And so to answer her question, and regarding this whole financial situation, I think the reason why couples struggle, the reason why people's relationships are impacted by money is because each partner has a different relationship with their money, right? So when we were both making the same amount of money, it's all good. But now I've doubled my income. And so I want you to show up. I want you to step up. So now the spouse is being, in essence, punished for the fact that the other partner makes more. So listen, there may be positions where your partner may never make as much money as you, right? That's just what it is. But to expect your spouse to have to make more because you as the husband make more money, well, to your point, Raquel, I think for many men, we love being the provider. We've seen on the inverse of it where a lot of men struggle if their wife makes 50 cents more an hour than they do. Somehow it's a shot to their masculinity. They don't feel like they could be a man in their own home. And that's one of the reasons why sometimes men step out and they connect with other women who are more needier, who are in more want, so that they can be a man in a way that they can't be in the household.
Yeah, and that's pretty unfortunate because that really puts a lot of women at a disadvantage because a lot of women are actually doing a lot better than some of the eligible men that are available. And so that's a big deal that we have to rectify because what you were just talking about was more of the traditional relationships, those where the man is making more and the wife isn't that. But what about those who is completely reversed and the husband is at home, and those issues come up too. Hitting egos hard.
Oh, that's so true.
This is good. All right, listen, we got one more segment. We'll be right back. We're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Raquel Watts so she can drop these gems on you. You're watching the Couples Academy show. Be right back in just a second. Have you been struggling with issues that have gone unresolved for significant amounts of time? Are you desperate for change but don't know exactly what to do? Well, Couples Academy has the answer. The Gottman Relationship Checkup is a clinical tool that scientifically evaluates relationship strengths and challenges through a comprehensive assessment based upon 40 years of research. With it, each partner completes the assessment in 5 key sections: friendship and intimacy, trust and safety, conflict management, shared meaning, and individual areas of concern. This personalized report provides detailed analysis, flags areas of concern, and suggests specific treatment options that we will discuss together. The insight gained from this assessment will help to take you off the road of recovery and place you on the path to fulfillment. If you're ready to experience quantum growth in your marriage, contact Couples Academy today. All right, guys, we're back. You're watching the Couples Academy show. We're excited because we have Dr. Raquel Watts who's joining us for this conversation. And we're talking about women's issues in their relationship and what we can do about it. Not we, because I'm not a woman, but what you all can do about it to overcome those challenges.
Dr. Raquel Watts, can you help us? We really need to learn how to instill self-care in our lives as a routine. This is a big issue for us, as all women we do, right? Some of us do better than others. What are your thoughts on what women need to do to really begin to do this and get their husbands on board so they understand the need
For self-care?
for self-care?
Okay.
Yes, I absolutely believe in self-care. But you know, one thing that I'm realizing is that a lot of us we think self-care is going to a spa, going shopping, which, believe me, Danielle and I know those things do help you with self-care. But self-care really has a lot to do with how you take care of your mind, and what you think about yourself. You know, I think that a lot of women, we suffer. I mean, we could be in a mall, but if we're thinking that we can't buy anything because we can't fit anything, because we don't look good in our clothes, I mean, then going to the mall could be even more trauma. So, you know, I love how the scripture says, so is a man thinketh, so is he. We have to go back to what are we thinking? Who are we to ourselves? Do we love ourselves? Are we in God's purpose to where we feel fulfilled? And I think that doing that introspective and doing that work is most important by yourself. So that could be your self-care time, going to a park, or sitting in your car somewhere like at a beach, and just thinking about the things that matter to you, not to your family, but to you, and getting in touch with the God in you, and realizing how powerful you are, and that you're God's highest form of creation.
Absolutely. Can I just piggyback on that? Because I need you to repeat sitting in your car. I wrote that down.
That is everything.
I am always sitting in my car.
Me too.
And at one point it was my shower, right? At one point I would be in the shower forever, and I'd be like, what is going on? I'm in there with doing self-care, okay? I'm in there getting my mind, getting my spirit right, because I know I got 1,000 things to do. Well, now it's sitting in the car, and Asani will come out and look and be like, are you good? Like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm just getting my bearings together, and that's important for women to understand. I love the other point that you made. When you go out to the mall, if you don't feel good about yourself, that body image can really give you major problems. You don't want to put clothes on. Caring about your body and actually knowing how to dress your body and be comfortable in your size, and then also adding fitness to that, helps these women kind of pull it together. I just loved everything.
And what was powerful, I just heard a distinction between your body and your body
mind.
Image, which is in
Yes.
your mind.
Yes.
Because, how many people, I'm just so fat, I'm just so, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too light, I'm too dark. Like, they have all these issues about their body, but it's about the image they have of their body. Because if you could see yourself through other people's lenses, you may see something completely different.
That's so true with young women. You might have heard of this, Doctor. There was a guy who did plastic surgery, and he turned everybody into a beautiful swan, but he found out at the end of the day that he couldn't change the way they saw themselves. And so even though they had all the plastic surgery and they had the body and the boobs and the butt and everything else, inside they still felt fat or ugly and still behaved the same way. Wow.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the challenges that you're seeing that women who are in relationships, we deal with people who are in challenging times in their relationships. Some want to stay and work it out. Some are struggling. Should I stay? Should I get out? Like, what are you seeing with the people that you work with?
Insecurities. And rightfully so. Sometimes they're in relationships that have added to the insecurities. But generally, there's a foundation that's a little faulty that we have to go back in and we have to correct and we have to strengthen. I see a lack of communication, the inability to communicate. Some people don't feel comfortable with their spouse after years to say the simplest things, like, I don't like that. To be able to really be open and honest. The lack of love. The fact that our caller actually identified that her husband would make her feel bad because she's not making enough money. That's a lack of love.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not saying that he doesn't love her. What I'm saying is being able to express that and on all areas is crucial.
One thing you just said, communication. I think generally speaking, when we're generalizing things, it's always assumed that the man doesn't know how to communicate, that somehow women are these phenomenal communicators and they've got it all together. And it's deep, because when men get in their own social space and when women get in their own social space, and it's not about the other gender, you begin to see the faults, the flaws, the idiosyncrasies, the things that are going wrong in a person. And I think it's important that we all take ownership for our own stuff so that we can be better at, who we are and how we show up, that can contribute to a better relationship. So communication issues is dealing with, because there are women who lie, there are women who deceive, there are women who are not vulnerable, there are women who are not transparent, and there's reasons for that, and getting to the root of those reasons really helps them to become a better version of themselves. And that's what you do when you work with people. You get to the root of the issue and begin to identify what's going on within you, what's in your history, what's in your childhood, what's in your whatever that makes you do what you do. And I think that's important, because a lot of people know what they do, but they don't necessarily know why they do what they do. Is that true?
Absolutely. And we're emotional beings by nature. So our communication is a lot more difficult because we have to get away from the emotions to really, really get to the heart of the matter. And sometimes men can't hear us because we're emotional, and they can't hear the heart of the matter. So I like when you said that women don't always, we're not perfect at communication. We have to work on it. We have to really be very direct and very deliberate to communicate effectively to men.
That's so true, and that is very difficult for us. I mean, I even find myself sometimes really struggling in conversation not to get emotional, especially if I'm upset about something. Like it's almost like we speak on different frequencies. Yes. And we've got to learn to get closer to each other's frequencies so that we can be understood. I love the idea of digging deep. I call it unearthing, because there's so much hidden and buried beneath us. Can you talk to us a bit about that process and how you go about doing that with women?
Yes. So you have to, generally when there's an issue, there is a foundation for the issue. There's something that has brought this issue to surface. And you have to go all the way back sometimes. I mean, you have to sometimes go back to childhood, because there are things that have happened that have traumatized somebody and left them in a place of, how can I say it, the inability to cope. So they've learned to cope another way. And the way that they've learned to cope isn't effective for relationships, or I should say a positive relationship or a successful relationship. So sometimes you have to go all the way back, you have to dig it up, and you have to show them that they have to actually do something to change the way they think about that particular area.
Change. Wow. Well, there we go again. Change is one of those things that we.
But I can't be the same. I can't just stay there. I can't just be me. I can't be stuck in this for the rest of my life. Who I am, I gotta change.
And see, that's the thing, because some people feel like change. Right. I love who I am. Right. I'm not trying to deprive myself. This is who I'm not trying to betray myself. Right. And it's just like, wait a minute, change is inevitable, right? So either you can change by circumstance or you can change by design. And if you have to give up parts of you that are just not good, what is wrong with that?
To me, it takes all the weights off your ankles so that you can rise. Like, those are the things weighing you down, but people are so scared to move forward. Like, who would I be without all my weird idiosyncrasies or my issues? That's the thing.
That's the thing. Listen, guys, this is a great conversation. Dr. Raquel, I pray that you'll be willing to come with us again back on the show and talk through a number of different issues that people are struggling with. You know, you're going to be very, very close to what we do, and we want to make sure that the people understand who you are and the power that you bring in terms of transforming lives.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, listen, guys, you've been watching the Couples Academy show. We hope that you enjoyed it. We see the comments are coming in. We're always going to pick up on those comments. If we don't have time in the show, we'll pick up on it in the next day. But listen, continue to tune in. 9 o'clock, we're switching times. We have so many family responsibilities, and 9:30 doesn't work anymore. We got kids, we got to drive to work, and this, that, and the other. So 9 a.m., that's the new time. We'll be announcing it. We want you to tune in, get ready, and continue the conversation. Love you guys. See you on tomorrow.
Bye.